Hi there. It's Keith here. It's plugged on. Well, I mean this channel isn't, but if anybody watches this regularly, you should know that by now. And I'm here to do the 9th episode of the 6th and final season of Teen Wolf. This episode's Memory Found, which is, in relation to the very first episode, which was called Memory Lost. In which, this was the episode where they played it up that Scott, Lydia, and Malia are going to remember Stiles, finally. So I'm not going to talk about that part of the episode, because there's really only two plot lines that happen in this episode. There's that, and then there's what's happening, elsewhere. So, basically, Liam and the sheriff go to the sheriff's station, and at first the sheriff's like, it's okay, I'm not going to trust Theo, I have a sheriff's station full of deputies. But there's nobody there, which we already knew because of last episode. And so then, Liam tries to convince him to let Theo go because they need him. The sheriff is understandably reluctant, and eventually relents when Theo proves that he legitimately remembers Stiles, and this isn't some kind of trick that he somehow brought up. The three of them go to exit the sheriff's station, but they realize that the Wild Hunt has showed up, and so they think it's like, oh, there's only 5 of them. So the sheriff gets his gun ready, they open the door, and there's more than 5 Ghost Riders out there. And so, and then the sheriff gets taken, he gets shot by the magic bullets, and then Theo and Liam escape in one of the police cars, and they actually run over a Ghost Rider, which I don't know if running it over was significant in any way or not. But, so they go to the hospital, because Liam knows his way around the hospital, and both of them kind of express the idea that they're not there for each other, that they're not going to save each other. Theo's like, I'm just going to run. And Liam's like, I'm going to use you as bait so that I can go and, and actually be helpful while you're trying to run away. And so then eventually the Ghost Riders show up. And actually rather quickly they both kind of go against what they said, and they're kind of saving each other and fighting the Ghost Riders. And I think they actually end up managing to kill 3 of them. Theo manages to cut one of their throats with a surgical saw, and Liam shoots 2 of them before more Ghost Riders show up. And so then Theo strangely decides that, yes, I'm going to be the bait, and shoves Liam into an elevator and goes to fight the Ghost Riders himself, and it's implied that he's eventually taken. Now, who knows? But I'm just going to assume that is the case. And so that's half the episode. Well, not even half the episode. The other half of the episode is taking place down in the tunnels in the bunker, in Argent's bunker, and Scott, Malia, and Lydia plan on using the freezing chamber that Argent had used for Parrish to put them in a hypnotic trance so they can remember Stiles. So Scott goes in first, and in a ways it works, but eventually the memories become too much, so Lydia helps him create a construct for which he can see all his memories, and which he uses as a hallway filled with lockers in the school. And he remembers a bunch of things, he remembers Stiles chaining him up in Lunatic. He remembers a couple other things. I know for a fact he remembers the whole Batman and Robin conversation. Then he remembers the we're brothers Scott thing from Hotel California before his heartbeat goes down too quickly, and Lydia and Malia pull him out. But sadly, nothing happened. So Malia goes in, and she ends up in the library, and she's remembering a bunch of things about Stiles, a couple moments from when they met in Eichen House, and mostly that moment in Weaponized in season 4 when Scott, Kira, and Malia are kind of being affected by that virus, and Stiles goes, and they have that touching moment. But then again, Malia starts to get too cold, and she gets taken out. So they actually do straight up hypnotism using a candle and trance words and guiding words to put Lydia in a hypnotizing state, so that she can remember Stiles, and she remembers things like the dance from season 1, and then she remembers a couple other things, and eventually because she's viewing it through like a TV in a classroom, and then eventually she walks off and she remembers when she kissed him in season 3, and then that's like the flood that brings back all the memories, and she eventually remembers the last time she saw Stiles, and she like laments that he said that I love you, and she didn't say it back before they feel a rift opening, and they go out into the hallway, and they see a figure walking in the blinding light, and then Lydia questions it, calls out Stiles and over a black screen and whatnot. And that's literally, for the most part, all that happens to the episode. I felt that they did a good job. Like, they used Theo and Liam. So, like, Theo and Liam, they used them well because, I mean, that's really all they could do this half. And I liked some of the symbolism in the rest of it. Like, the fact that one of the things that Scott, like, fixated on when Stiles first disappeared was, the locker, that he didn't know whose it was, and so then he's viewing the memories through lockers on the wall. How Leah kind of starts to figure out that something's wrong in the book when she sees the word style, and then she's in a library reading books to get her memories. And then, and the same thing too with Lydia, and how she's viewing her memories, most of her memories, on a TV, and like she had that premonition in the premiere via a TV. And I really like the symbolism of all that, and I feel like even though this was a slower episode, I feel like it needed to happen because last week's episode was a pretty big and, like, I feel like important episode, and of course the finale should be big and important, and even though it's heavily implied, so basically it's heavily implied that the person walking at the silhouette they see at the end of the episode is Stiles, yet it's not confirmed, but it is confirmed that Stiles is back in the winter premiere. I mean, Dylan O'Brien was filming, and that's like kind of common knowledge at this point that he filmed for episode 10, and also all the previews for next week's episode show Stiles about. So, I mean, it's basic, but they never say if that's him. It'd be interesting if it's like that's just kind of something thrown in, that's not him. He shows up at a different time, like the rift between the worlds gets open, and that's how Stiles escapes. That would be interesting. Which, like I said, I like the fact that this episode's slower and it's cool, but the one problem I have with the episode is the fact that it's Lydia who remembers Stiles, in which I get the points for it, which I know because if like anybody who's like a Stydia fan watches this, they're going to say that, well, the whole season's been about Stydia. Of course it's going to be her that remembers, and also, well, like, Scott and Stiles and Stiles and Malia's relationship and like, those two different relationships has always been important, especially like 3B and 5A were both important stories about Scott and Stiles' relationship, and then so was season 4 and 5A were both big seasons about Stiles, and 5B were about Stiles and Malia's relationship. But I just feel like it cheapens it because the way they shot the episode, it seems like that Scott and Malia were unable to get all of their memories back of Stiles, which, yeah, it kind of makes sense. They're trying to freeze death, but I feel like that could also be a cop-out. That could be a cop-out just to, again, to not to sound bad, because, like I said, I don't mind Stydia happening, but to force Stydia on us, which it's even worse for Scott because there's at least like a little bit of a reaction when Malia's in the tank and she's remembering things, more than so than Scott got, which again I think cheapens Scott and Stiles' relationship, in which Scott's the main character. I feel like, yes, the season's about Stiles and it's about Scott. That should have been like a conduit, but they made it like I said, they made it appear that neither Scott or Malia got all their memories back during it, and that Lydia remembers, and because Lydia remembers, and that her connection is so important, that Stiles comes back. And I feel like that works, but I also feel like it's a little cheap, as I've said. But also because, I mean, Stiles is going to have a very limited role in 6B. That's basically confirmed. I mean, at best, we heard that Dylan O'Brien, over 8 days, had filmed scenes for 8 different episodes, which, if that's the case, then best case, which is the best case scenario for him having any kind of major role in 6B, means he's not going to have a major role in next week's episode, which would mean that basically, like, most of what we've seen in the previews and whatnot is all he's going to be in next week's episode, and then he's still going to barely have any kind of role in the next half of the season because I mean, it takes a long time to film episodes. You can't like film all the scenes that a character has for an episode in one day. That's just not that just doesn't happen. Usually, like, filming an episode takes like 5 to 10 days, so like 1 or 2 weeks of filming. So, which basically means that the more I think about it, the more I think that that statement of, oh, we filmed enough for 10 episodes is more of a ruse to get people to stop talking. Not like, and then, and, you know, he's not going to be in the next couple episodes, which means you're building up Stydia for the whole world to see and all of this stuff, and then Stiles isn't going to play a major role. I think that kind of sucks, which, I mean, it sucks, it kind of sucks just because that's the situation. I mean, and I guess, yeah, they filmed the first half of season 6, you know, as if they would have if Dylan didn't get injured. But like I said, that just kind of sucks in a lot of ways. Like, it's just like, oh, you know. But I mean, I still have hopes for next week's episode. The previews that they showed at the end of the episode were really cool, and again, they showed Stiles a little bit, and they showed lots of Ghost Riders, which is also really cool. But like, again, I'm curious to see how it wraps up, because I feel like they have to save everybody at the end of next week's episode. But then also the Ghost Riders and Mr. Douglas are still going to be in the second half of season 6. So it's like, so how do you resolve everything yet keep them around? Again, I don't know. So I'm actually really excited. So as far as I'm aware, I'm going to not put up next week's episode on this channel. Next week's episode is going to be on the Plugged On channel. I'm going to put it up over there. So yeah, so again, this was Memory Found. I'd say an okay episode. Again, the big thing that brings me down is the whole shoving Stydia down our throats things. But thank you all for watching, and have a good rest of your day.